Hello everyone, welcome back to Smart School Music Room. We're going to learn about form. This is the last lesson, the smartest level, and this lesson is about something called rondo form. Rondo is an Italian word, it means round. So in rondo form, something keeps coming round again. So if we look at all the different sections, we've got A, B, A, C, A, B, A. So which one of these do you think is the one that keeps coming back round all the time? The A section keeps coming back round. In between each A section there is something different, an episode we call it. And because it's different, we've got a different letter name for it and a different colour to make it easier for you to see the pattern. Different sections mean that it's going to have contrast, so different ideas. What's going to be different? How is it going to be different? When you're listening, those are the things to look out for. So there can be any number of different episodes, A, B, A, C, A, D, A, E, A, F, etc. This version is symmetrical, a kind of arch shape with B repeated as well. So you get A, then B, then A again, then C. C is like the middle of the music, then it goes back to A, and then back to B, and then A again. So if you drew a line down the middle, the sections would be a symmetrical form. The music's not going to do that. The music's not going to be going backwards from this half onwards, but it's just the form that's symmetrical. So there's another new word here called coda. Coda is another Italian word. It's a special ending section. So at the end of this last A section, there could be a different ending. It's not completely different music, just an ending to finish off the piece. And it's based on the A. Coda means tailpiece. And it's added on to give the piece a good ending. I've got two pieces to play that are rondo form and for you to follow and listen to. First one's called mini rondo. So you can tell when you understand rondo if you can tell what's going on. You can tell what's going to happen at the end of each section. So when you get to the end of the A section, do you know what's going to happen next? Is it going to be a repeat or is it going to be a contrast? You should know, I think by now, that if you're going from an A section to a B section, you'll be expecting something different. So what I've got here are the three sections. We can see we've got some descriptions to find out what's going on in each section. And then down below, this is the overall plan. So the A section, the bit that returns, has got another special Italian name. It's called ritornello. Then the other sections, the different sections of different ideas, they are called episodes. So you've got the B episode, the C episode, and then the B episode again. And then you've got this special coda, which looks very long, but it's actually not as long as it looks in the piece. And that's your special tailpiece ending. So this is mini rondo. This is a guide that will tell you what's happening in each section. So for the A section, the main melody is played on the xylophone, and the music for it is there as well, of the A theme. And then I've given you a description of what I've put in the background. So there are violins, they are low pitched, and they are played pizzicato, which is the Italian word for plucked. When we get to the B section, the violins take over with the melody. They're still low and they're plucked, but now they're in the foreground instead of in the background. There is a violin sound playing in the background, but very high and very soft and played with a bow, which the Italian word is arco. And you can see, if you look at the B theme, it looks very different. The notes are much lower down. There's some more gaps. And one of the things that you can do is to follow that when you're listening and see if you can pick that out each time it happens. Those themes are just the main themes and just at the beginning of each. For the C section, when that comes around, the main melody is now played on the cello pizzicato, so much lower. It gets faster, so it's speeding up. You have a recorder playing at impossible speeds, and that's because these pieces were made electronically, so I could get the computer to play things that it would be impossible for a human being to play. In the background you've got the cello playing low pizzicato again. If I play it, let's see if we can follow through the whole thing, and let's see if we can pick on something to listen to and see if we can notice the contrasts. So when it goes from A to B or A to C and back again. And let's see if we can get to recognise the A theme. We're going to hear it 4 times. So by the end of this piece we should be able to have a good memory for what the A theme sounds like, even if we forget everything else. Here we go. So I hope you enjoyed listening to that. I hope you enjoyed following the music as it played. And I hope you could tell where you were. So this C episode, we only hear that once. That's the one with the crazy recorder sounds. So if you wanted to play this music again, you would hear the A section 4 times to every time you heard the C section. So you might even get bored of the A section after a while before you got to know the B and the C section. Moving on, the second piece is called Rondo Zone. Now this time I have put some sound effects into this music. So if you don't feel like following all the melodies, then you can look at the sound effects list. So for section A, the main melody is played on the trumpet and steel pans. Those are the steel drums that come from the Caribbean. The sound effects in the background, maybe not so much in the background, a punch bag being hit, someone screaming, and some electronic zappy sounds. So you could listen to them. You could listen to this piece a few times and choose different things to listen to each time. For the B section, the main melody is played on the violin and cello. They are both bowed, which is arco. Sound effects here, telephone ring, footsteps, car sounds, more zaps, some dog barking. So a lot going on there. And then you've got the violin melody there. See the shape of it, you can follow that. The little guide will come up to show you anyway. The C section, the main melody, is played on panpipes, which are like lots of pipes joined together, getting shorter and shorter. They come from South America. You might recognise them. That would be a good thing to look out for, listen out for. And the trumpet again. The sound effects on this section are the heartbeat. So that's going to be very different from all of this manic stuff going on in the B section. And there's the melody on the panpipes, starting off with 2 notes, and then the second one's held on for a long time. And then you've got this little tune playing around after the long note. The structure is the same as mini rondo: A, B, A, C, A, B, A. So it's symmetrical, but you've also got a coda as well. You've got the tail piece as an ending. Okay, here we go. Well done. There's a lot going on in that piece. If you could follow it and find your way through, that was a brilliant job. So now let's try the quiz. So before we start the last quiz of the form lesson, there's a few things I wanted to explain. There have been lots and lots and lots and lots of different musical forms over the centuries. Some of them become very popular for a time, maybe for 100 years or for 200 years, or in the case of opera, for the last 400 years. Two important forms for orchestras are the symphony. They've been written since the 1700s. The other form is a concerto. They're quite similar. They're both quite long pieces for orchestra. The symphony normally has 4 movements and the concerto normally has 3 movements, but that's changed over the hundreds of years that they've been written. The difference between the concerto and the symphony is that the concerto has a solo instrument. So you might have a piano concerto, you might have heard of that, or a violin concerto, or even a guitar concerto. There were a few of them written since the 20th century. You could have a flute concerto, you can have any kind of concerto. But you just have to have someone who's really, really good at that instrument to play it with the orchestra. So 10 questions, multiple choice answers. You can pause the video and give yourself time to write down full sentences or the question and the whole answer, or you can write the number of the question and the A, B, C or D option for the answer, hopefully for the right one. Question number 1. In rondo form, the A section is only heard once. Answer B, the A section is repeated in between other sections. C, the B section is repeated after every other section. Or D, none of the sections are repeated. So which one of those is the right true statement? Question number 2, which one of these means a special ending? A, ostinato, B, binary, C, rondo, or D, coda? One of them means tailpiece or ending. Coda is the Italian for fish face, tailpiece, ending, or repeat. So we want the translation here, not the meaning, but what it actually translates to: fish face, tailpiece, ending, or repeat. Question number 4, just 2 options this time, A or B. Can rondo form be symmetrical? A, yes, or B if you think no. Question number 5. In between the A sections of a rondo, the contrasting sections are called A, ritornello, B, episodes, C, coda, or D, rondo. Question number 6. Which of these times did Haydn and Mozart live in? A, 1500s or the 16th century, B, 1685 to 1750, C, the 1700s or the 18th century, or D, if you think it's 1900s or the 20th century. So if you're not sure about that one, this is based on the smarter form lesson on ternary form. Question number 7. Rondo form is often used for A, the first movement of a symphony, B, the second movement of a symphony, C, the third movement of a symphony, or D, the fourth movement of a symphony. If you didn't get that information from the lesson, then just take a guess. Question number 8. Mini rondo and rondo zone each have 2 different sections, 3 different sections, 4 different sections, or 5 different sections? Think of the letters and the colours. Question number 9. You might want to have a guess at this one, unless you know the right answer, in which case I would go with that. A symphony is A, a short piece of music for piano, B, a long piece of music for guitar, C is called the A section, or D, a long piece of music for orchestra, usually in 4 movements, popular in the 18th and 19th centuries. And the last question, question number 10, a concerto is a piece of music for orchestra and a solo instrument. B, a form of pop music. C, a short piece of music for piano. Or D, a long piece of music for orchestra. And I'm just going to go through the answers. So in rondo form, question number 1, the A section is only heard once. The A section is repeated in between other sections. I think that could be the answer, B. Yes, well done, 100%. Second question, a special ending is known as a coda. Question number 3, coda is the Italian for, not fish face, tailpiece. B. Question number 4, we know that a rondo form can be symmetrical. Yes. In between the A sections, the contrasting sections are called episodes. Well done if you remembered that one. Question number 6. Haydn and Mozart lived in the 18th century, 1700s. Yes, well done. Question number 7. Now, rondo form is often used for the 4th movement of a symphony. Yes, well done. In the 18th century, rondo was popular as the last movement of a classical symphony. Question number 8. Mini rondo and rondo zone each have. Now we're looking at different sections. We had the A and the B and the C. We're not going to count the coda because that's based on A, it's just a little ending. So I think it's going to be 3 different sections. I hope you thought that as well. Question number 9. So if you weren't sure about this and you gave it a guess, the right guess would have been D, a long piece of music for orchestra, usually in 4 movements and popular in the 18th and 19th centuries. And finally, question number 10, a concerto is a piece of music for orchestra and a solo instrument. Yes, well done. If you got 10 out of 10 for that, you are absolutely amazing because some of those questions were really tricky. Thanks to everyone for listening really carefully, doing your best, and thanks for learning.